The owner came up to Wilbur and whispered to him, "Dude, don't do this to yourself. He's got some big connections. You won't be able to trump him." "Oh, I'm not worried about that. I'll take care of all of them today and make sure no one gives you trouble in the future," Wilbur said calmly. The owner knew that he would not be able to talk Wilbur out of this, thus he retreated to the side silently. He could also tell by now that Wilbur was not just any random person. Despite the fact that this altercation had happened in his cafe, there was nothing he could do about it anymore. Just then, Wilbur had heard everything Bernie had said on the phone clearly with his heightened senses. It hardly fazed him, and he was looking forward to teaching both Bernie and that uncle of his a lesson that day. At that thought, Wilbur was about to make a call to Faye and have her get the most important person in the food safety department to come over and have a look at the kind of people working under him. Just then, a voice cut through the air. "Mr. Penn, what a coincidence." Wilbur turned around and saw that it was Gordon Grayson. "Oh, what brings you here?" Wilbur said, surprised. Gordon was a general and should be laden with work with no time to eat at a small cafe like this. Gordon chuckled, then sat down next to Wilbur. "I've got the day off. I heard you like the food over here, so thought I'd see if I could bump into you today." "You could have just given me a call. Why go through all this trouble?" Wilbur laughed. Gordon sighed. "I know you're busy too. You turned down that invitation to the banquet I sent to you, so calling you might not work. I thought I'd just resort to looking for you." "I really was busy last time," Wilbur said apologetically. Gordon smiled. "Well, will you be free tonight? I came all this way after all. My dad called me useless for not being able to even invite you over for dinner." Wilbur shook his head. "All right. I'll have dinner with old Mr. Grayson tonight." "Great. At last." Gordon broke out into a laugh. "You really are quite something, you know. My old man's getting fitter by the day. It's a miracle." Wilbur chuckled, saying nothing. Just then, Gordon looked around him. "It's quite the party here. Mind telling me what happened?" Wilbur paused to think, then put his phone away before telling Gordon what had happened. Gordon nodded. "I see. Well, I've got a free day ahead of me, and don't mind waiting with you. How's that?" Wilbur understood what Gordon was implying. That was fine too. With this, Wilbur would not have to call Faye. He nodded. "Of course. 3 sandwiches and a mushroom soup, please," Gordon called out. The cafe owner was at a loss for words. These people had just been fighting, and this man was still in the mood to eat. He served up the food quietly, hiding in a corner after that. Gordon glanced at Wilbur, who said, "Oh, go ahead. I've already eaten." Gordon nodded and proceeded to dig in. Bernie stared at the 2 men with his vicious gaze. "I'll see if you can eat in a bit." Gordon was done with his food in no time, wiping his mouth with a napkin happily. "The food here is really amazing. No wonder you like it here." Wilbur nodded with a smile. Just then, 2 cars stopped in front of the cafe, and over 10 officers came out. The man in front of the group looked to be in his 50s, with a large pot belly. He swaggered up to the cafe, his expression ashen. "What happened here?"